Hey Libra, I just pulled the cards for you, and honestly, what came through is pretty wild. So there is this whole energy around someone thinking, you have lost interest, and I am going to walk you through exactly what the universe is showing. Me, right now, because this is one of those readings where every single card just builds on the previous one in such an interesting way. Let me just dive right in, because the first card I pulled is the Four of Wands. And you know what this card usually represents, right? It is about celebration and homecoming and stability. But here is what is fascinating about this card in your reading. Someone in your life has been operating under this assumption that you have checked out emotionally. They think you have moved on, or that you are building something new without them. The Four of Wands is showing me that while they believe you are celebrating your freedom or establishing new foundations elsewhere, the reality is actually quite different. This card is pointing to the fact that there is going to be a moment of genuine celebration coming for you, but not in the way this person assumes. They think you are already there living your best life without them, but the truth is, this celebration is still forming. It is still taking shape. And here's the thing that makes this so interesting. The Four of Wands represents a threshold moment. You are standing at the entrance to something new, but you have not fully stepped through yet. This person has completely misread where you actually are in your journey. They think you have already moved into this new chapter, but you are actually still deciding whether to walk through that door. The energy here is telling me that their assumption about your disinterest is going to create a catalyst for something they absolutely did not see coming. Because while they are busy convincing themselves that you do not care anymore, you are actually in this really powerful position of choice. You are evaluating everything with clear eyes. The Four of Wands is stable and grounded, which means you are not being impulsive or reactive. You are being strategic about your next moves, and this is going to catch them completely off guard when they realize you were never lost or disinterested. You were just being intentional, and that intentionality is going to shift everything in ways they cannot predict right now. The second card that came through is the King of Wands, and oh my goodness, this card is so powerful for what is about to unfold. The King of Wands represents confidence, leadership, and this really magnetic energy that draws people in. Here is what the universe is telling me about this. While this person thinks you have lost interest, they are about to witness you stepping into a version of yourself that is so assured and directed that it completely contradicts their narrative. The King of Wands does not chase. The King of Wands does not beg for attention or validation. This energy is about knowing your worth and moving forward with such clarity and purpose that others naturally take notice. What is happening here is that you are embodying this king energy in a way you maybe have not before. Libra, you know how you can sometimes get caught up in trying to maintain balance and keep everyone happy? Well, the King of Wands is telling me that you are moving past that phase. You are stepping into your power in a really direct way. And this is going to completely shatter whatever story this person has been telling themselves about you being lost or uninterested. Because when someone sees you owning your path with this level of confidence, it forces them to reconsider everything they thought they knew. The King of Wands also represents action and forward momentum. So while they are sitting there assuming you have checked out, you are actually building something real. You are taking concrete steps toward your goals. You are making moves that are going to have lasting impact. And when they finally notice what you have been creating, they are going to realize they completely misunderstood the situation. They thought your quietness or your distance meant you were fading away, but you were actually gathering your power. You were preparing to step into this leadership role in your own life. The brutal change that is coming is this. Their perception is about to get completely flipped. They are going to see you in this King of Wands energy thriving and directed and purposeful, and it is going to make them question every assumption they made about where your head and heart were at. This is not about proving anything to them specifically. This is about you genuinely stepping into your power and them having to witness what that actually looks like when you stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. The third card I pulled is the Two of Swords, and this one is really interesting because it represents a decision that has been in suspension. You know that imagery of the blindfolded figure holding two swords crossed over their chest? That is about being at a crossroads, but not yet ready to choose. Here is what this card is revealing about your situation. There has been a period where you were genuinely weighing your options. You were considering different paths, and you needed time and space to think clearly without external pressure. This is probably part of what made this other person think you had lost interest. Your energy pulled back because you needed to go inward and evaluate. But here is the crucial part. The Two of Swords is not a permanent state. It is a temporary pause before clarity emerges. And what the cards are showing me is that you are coming out of this Two of Swords energy very soon. The decision that has been hanging in the balance is about to resolve itself, and when it does, everything is going to move very quickly. This person who thinks you have checked out has no idea that you are actually just taking time to think deeply about what you want. They interpreted your introspection as disinterest, when really it was you being responsible about a significant choice. The brutal change here is that once you emerge from this Two of Swords state and make your decision clear, it is going to be definitive. There will be no ambiguity left. And depending on what you decide, this could go one of two ways. Either you are going to make a choice that brings you closer to something you want, which will surprise them because they thought you had already moved on. Or you are going to make a choice that creates even more distance, which will force them to confront the fact that your withdrawal was not about losing interest. It was about gaining clarity on what you actually need. The Two of Swords is telling me that the mental work you have been doing, the weighing and considering and reflecting, has been necessary and valuable. And when you finally lower those swords and choose your path forward, the people around you are going to have to adjust to this new reality you are creating. They will not be able to stay in their assumptions anymore because your clarity is going to demand that they see the truth. Now, the fourth card is the Knight of Cups, and this energy is really fascinating in the context of everything else. The Knight of Cups is the romantic, the dreamer, the one who approaches with offers and gestures of emotional connection. Here is what I am seeing with this card. There is going to be an approach. Someone is going to come forward with an emotional offer or proposition. Now, this could be the same person who thought you lost interest, or it could be someone completely new. But what is significant is the timing of this. The Knight of Cups showing up right after the Two of Swords. It tells me that once you gain that clarity, I was just talking about once you emerge from that decision-making space, an emotional opportunity is going to present itself. And here is where the brutal change really starts to crystallize. If this is the person who assumed you were disinterested, imagine how they are going to feel when they realize they need to actually make an effort to reach you. The Knight of Cups does not sit back passively. This is someone taking action to pursue an emotional connection. So either this person is going to have a complete shift in their approach because they realize you were never lost, they were just not paying attention, or someone new is going to enter who actually sees your value and is willing to show up for you properly. Either way, the energy of the Knight of Cups represents movement toward you, not away from you. And that is going to be such a contrast to this narrative about you losing interest. Because what is really happening is that your energy is magnetic, right? Now, even if you have been in that introspective Two of Swords space, people are going to feel drawn to you. They are going to want to connect with you on a deeper level. The Knight of Cups brings romantic gestures, creative expressions, and heartfelt communication. So expect someone to really put effort into reaching you emotionally. And if you have been feeling like you are the only one investing or caring, this is going to be a refreshing change. This card is showing me that you are going to have options. You are going to have someone actually pursuing you with intention and sincerity. And that is going to completely shift the dynamic from you being the one who supposedly lost interest to you being the one who is valued and sought. After the fifth card I pulled is the Five of Pentacles. And okay, this card can look concerning at first, but let me explain what it is showing me in your specific situation. The Five of Pentacles traditionally represents hardship, feeling left out in the cold, struggling. But in the context of this reading, it is revealing something really important about the other person's perspective and experience. While they have been assuming you lost interest, they have actually been experiencing their own sense of lack or exclusion. They feel like they are on the outside looking in. Maybe they feel like they missed their chance with you, or that they are watching you build a life that does not include them. The Five of Pentacles is showing me that their assumption about your disinterest is actually a projection of their own insecurity. They are the ones feeling impoverished emotionally. They are the ones standing in the cold wondering why they feel so disconnected. And they made up this story that you lost interest because it is easier than admitting they might have fumbled the connection. Here's what makes this a brutal change for them. The Five of Pentacles often appears when someone is suffering needlessly because they refuse to see the resources or help that is available to them. In tarot imagery, you see two figures in the snow, walking past a warm-lit church. They are so focused on their struggle that they do not notice sanctuary is right there. This person has been so caught up in their narrative about you being disinterested that they have not noticed. You were actually accessible this whole time. You did not lock them out. They locked themselves out through their assumptions. And when they finally realize this, when they understand that they created their own sense of exclusion, it is going to hit them hard. The brutal change is them waking up to the fact that they did not have to be out in the cold. They chose to interpret your need for space or your thoughtful reflection as rejection, when really you were just being human. The Five of Pentacles also speaks to a lesson about recognizing value and not taking things for granted. This person is learning the hard way what it feels like to think they lost access to something valuable. And that realization is going to change how they show up moving forward if they get another chance. Okay, the sixth card is the Six of Cups, and this card brings in such an interesting layer to your reading. The Six of Cups is about nostalgia, past connections, innocence, and sometimes the return of someone from your past. Here is what the universe is showing me with this card. There is going to be a moment where either you or this other person, or maybe both of you simultaneously, start reflecting on what was. You are going to remember the good times, the easy connection, the moments before things got complicated. The Six of Cups has this really sweet, innocent energy to it, like remembering childhood or simpler times. In your situation, this card is indicating that part of the brutal change is going to involve confronting the gap between the past and the present. This person thought you lost interest, but the Six of Cups is going to bring up memories that contradict that. They are going to remember moments when you clearly did care, when the connection was strong and genuine, and that is going to create cognitive dissonance for them. How do they reconcile their current belief that you do not care with all these memories of times when you obviously did? The Six of Cups can also indicate someone from your past reaching back out. So it is possible that an old connection resurfaces, and this becomes part of the catalyst for change. Maybe someone who used to be in your life comes back around and their presence forces everyone to reevaluate where they stand. Or maybe you yourself are going to have this moment of nostalgia where you realize what you actually miss and what you do not. The Six of Cups asks you to honor the past without being trapped by it. Yes, there were good times. Yes, there was genuine connection, but that does not mean you are obligated to recreate what was. You are allowed to appreciate the past while choosing something different for your future. The brutal change here is that nostalgia is going to make everyone involved more honest. When you strip away all the defenses and assumptions and just remember the simple truth of what you shared, it becomes harder to maintain false narratives. The Six of Cups brings a kind of emotional truth that is hard to argue with, and that truth is going to shift the energy between you and this person significantly. The seventh card I drew is the Three of Swords. And, alright, this is the card that nobody really wants to see, but it is showing up here for a very specific reason. The Three of Swords represents heartbreak, pain, and the kind of clarity that comes through difficult truth. Here's what this means in your reading. The brutal change I keep mentioning, it involves some pain. It has to, because the truth is going to hurt. When this person realizes they completely misread your energy, when they understand that their assumption about you losing interest was wrong, there is going to be a moment of heartbreak for them. The Three of Swords is about that piercing moment of realization when you can no longer deny what is real. For them, it might be the pain of recognizing they pushed you away through their own insecurity or misinterpretation. It might be the grief of realizing they wasted time in a false narrative instead of just communicating openly with you. The Three of Swords does not let you hide from the truth. It forces you to see what is actually happening, even when it hurts. Now, this card could also touch you. There might be some pain in this process for you as well. Maybe you are going to feel hurt that this person so easily assumed the worst about your feelings. Maybe you are going to grieve the fact that they did not trust the connection enough to actually ask you what was going on instead of just making assumptions. The Three of Swords often appears when communication breaks down and people end up hurting each other unnecessarily. But here's the thing about this card that is actually hopeful. The Three of Swords brings necessary pain. It is the kind of hurt that cuts through illusion and forces growth. After the Three of Swords, you cannot go back to pretending. You cannot unsee what you have seen. So yes, there is going to be a painful moment of truth in this situation, but that pain is going to clear the air in a way that actually allows for something more authentic to emerge. The brutal change includes this moment of heartbreak, but it is a clarifying heartbreak. It is the kind that makes everyone involved more honest and more real with each other and with themselves. Now, the 8th card is the Moon and Libra. This card is so significant right now. The Moon represents illusion, confusion, hidden truths, and the murky territory between what is real and what is imagined. Here is what the Moon is revealing about your situation. This whole narrative about you losing interest, it has been happening in the shadows. There has been so much assumption and projection and uncertainty. The Moon shows me that neither you nor this other person has been fully honest or clear. There has been this fog hanging over the whole connection, where people are operating on feelings and fears rather than facts. The Moon asks what is real here and what is just shadow and reflection. This person thought you lost interest, but was that ever actually true? Or did they just convince themselves of it because of their own insecurities? The Moon represents the stories we tell ourselves in the dark, the fears that grow larger when we do not bring them into the light. And here is where the brutal change comes in with the Moon card. The truth is about to be illuminated. The Moon is that phase right before dawn, when everything is still dark and confusing, but the sun is coming. You are in the final moments of this uncertain, murky energy. Soon things are going to become clear. The illusions are going to dissolve. Whatever has been hidden is going to be revealed. The Moon also speaks to intuition and psychic awareness. You have probably been feeling that something was off in how this person was perceiving you. Your intuition has been telling you that their assumptions are not accurate. The Moon is validating that. Trust what you have been sensing. Trust that you know the truth of your own feelings, even if others are projecting their fears onto you. The brutal change that the Moon promises is the shift from confusion to clarity. It is the moment when the sun rises and you can finally see the landscape clearly, instead of trying to navigate by moonlight. All the questions that have been swirling around are about to get answered. All the uncertainty is about to resolve. And when it does, everyone involved is going to have to face what is actually real versus what they imagined or feared. The 9th card is the 5 of Swords, and this card has some really intense energy around conflict and winning at all costs. The 5 of Swords shows someone who has won a battle, but at what cost? They are holding swords they took from others, but they are standing alone, and the victory feels hollow. Here is what this card is showing me about your situation. There has been some kind of conflict or tension bubbling under the surface. Maybe not an outright argument, but definitely opposing energies or competing narratives. This person convinced themselves you lost interest, and maybe they even started pulling away first as a kind of self-protection. The 5 of Swords is showing me that they thought they were protecting themselves by assuming the worst about you. They thought they were winning by not being the one who cared more, or by creating distance first. But the brutal change is that they are going to realize their victory is empty. The 5 of Swords brings that moment of standing alone with your swords and thinking, wait, is this actually what I wanted? Did I actually win anything here? Or did I just push away something valuable because I was scared? This card also speaks to the aftermath of conflict. After the 5 of Swords, there is usually this period of reflection where people question their tactics and their choices. Was it worth it to fight that way? Was it worth it to assume the worst? This person is going to have that reckoning. They are going to look at the situation and realize that treating the connection like a battle or a power struggle did not serve anyone. The 5 of Swords can also indicate that you might need to walk away from some kind of conflict or competition that does not serve you. If this person wants to play games or keep score or treat your connection like something to win, then the FHF of Swords is giving you permission to just step back. You do not have to engage with that energy. You can let them stand there with their swords while you choose peace and authenticity instead. The brutal change with this card is the realization that nobody actually wins when relationships become battlegrounds. And that realization is going to shift how this person approaches you moving forward, if they approach you at all. The 10th and final card I pulled for you is the Ace of Pentacles and Libra. I am so glad this is how your reading ends, because the Ace of Pentacles is all about new beginnings in the material world, new opportunities and solid foundations for the future. After everything I just walked you through, all the confusion and assumptions and pain and conflict, the Ace of Pentacles is telling me that something real is going to emerge from this. This card represents tangible, offers concrete opportunities, and the beginning of something that has lasting value. Here is what this means for you. Whether this situation with this person resolves in a way that brings you back together, or whether you end up moving in a completely different direction, the Ace of Pentacles promises that you are building towards something solid and real. This is not just fantasy or emotional drama. This is about creating actual stability and prosperity in your life. The Ace of Pentacles can represent a new job, a financial opportunity, a new living situation, or even a new relationship that has real potential for growth. The key word here is real. After all, the illusion of the moon and the conflict of the Five of Swords and the heartbreak of the Three of Swords. You are moving into an energy that is grounded and practical and genuinely promising. The brutal change that brings all of this together is that while this person was busy, assuming you lost interest, you were actually preparing to receive something much better. You were getting yourself ready for a genuine opportunity. The Ace of Pentacles shows me that your future is secure, regardless of what happens with this connection. You are being offered a fresh start in the material realm, and that is something you can build on. This card encourages you to say yes to new opportunities, especially ones that offer real, tangible benefits. Do not let fear or past hurt keep you from reaching out and taking what is being offered to you. The Ace of Pentacles is a gift from the universe, and it is showing up in your reading to tell you that better things are coming. Real things. Valuable things. Things that are going to improve your life in measurable ways. So, while this person is dealing with the brutal realization that they completely misread you, you are going to be moving forward into genuine abundance and new possibilities. So, Libra, let me bring all of this together for you. The brutal change that is coming centers around this false narrative that you lost interest. Someone made assumptions about where your head and heart were, and they were wrong. The Four of Wands showed that you are actually on the threshold of celebration and stability, not checked out. The King of Wands revealed that you are stepping into powerful, confident energy that is going to completely contradict their story about you. The Two of Swords explained that you were never lost, you were just taking necessary time to make a clear decision. The Knight of Cups promised that emotional offers are coming your way, which proves you are anything but uninteresting to others. The Five of Pentacles exposed that this person was projecting their own sense of lack onto you. The Six of Cups brought up the truth of past connection, which is going to make their assumptions even harder to maintain. The Three of Swords showed that painful clarity is coming for everyone involved. The Moon revealed that all the confusion and illusion is about to lift. The Five of Swords indicated that treating connection like a battle leaves everyone alone. And finally, the Ace of Pentacles promised you a real, tangible new beginning that sets you up for future success. The brutal change is this. Everything this person thought they knew about you is about to be proven wrong, and that realization is going to hit them hard. Meanwhile, you are moving forward into genuine opportunity and abundance. You were never lost. You were never disinterested. You were just being thoughtful and intentional about your path. And now that clarity is coming to light, and it is going to change everything. Thanks for letting me pull these cards for you today. I hope this reading gave you some insight into what is coming and what is really happening beneath the surface. If any of this resonated with you, I would love to hear about it.